So Chelsea have signed Cole Palmer. That's really good news, I think. Although the rejoicing that I've seen amongst Chelsea fans doesn't really chime with me. It does feel a little bit premature. And to be totally frank with you, I don't really know where I sit on this one. We're going to explore it massively in this video. We're going to be weighing up the pros and cons. We're going to be exploring exactly why Chelsea have gone out and signed Cole Palmer, what it means, the significance of it, what it will do to the Premier League table. But I need to understand your thoughts on this. Can you just help me understand what is going on? What is the consciousness? What is the feeling amongst football fans? Can you like this video if you think Cole Palmer is a good signing for Chelsea? I just want to monitor it. So I just want to see how many likes this video gets in relation to my other videos. If you think Cole Palmer is a brilliant signing for Chelsea, please give it a like. I just want to see how this goes because to me, I like Cole Palmer. I think he's a good player. I always wondered if he was going to be good enough for Man City, but that doesn't mean he isn't good enough for Chelsea, obviously. The clubs are at very different levels at the moment. But regardless of what you think of him, regardless of what you think his ceiling is, the player that he is today, and we can only judge him on the player that he is today, played 3 Premier League games. He's played 3 Premier League games. So, to be totally frank, everybody saying that it's a great signing or people saying that it isn't a great signing, nobody really knows because there isn't that much data to back him up as a footballer. Look, we've all seen the moments. We've all seen him. If you're a Chelsea fan, you will have like visions and nightmares of Cole Palmer running rings around Cesar Azpilicueta last year. Like, we all know that. We obviously were all in admiration in that sort of deft little header that he scored against Seville, the blinding goal that he scored against Arsenal in the Charity Shield. Like, there are moments. We're aware of what he can do. But let's face it, at the beginning of this transfer window, he was ready to join Burnley on a season-long loan deal. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't being sold to Burnley. And Vincent Kompany being there is obviously going to be very significant in turning the cogs of that deal. But Cole Palmer was going to Burnley. Do you see why there are reservations for me? There are reservations for me because everything that Chelsea are doing at the moment feels slightly peculiar. But the fact that he was going to Burnley is significant. The fact that Manchester City were prepared to sell him is also significant. The fact that they were prepared to sell him off the back of Riyad Mahrez leaving a gaping hole on that right wing, one of the best right wingers to have ever played in the Premier League, leaves. Doesn't that open the door for Cole Palmer? Most certainly it not. It most certainly does not. Off they go to Rennes to spend nearly 70 million quid on Doku. So Cole Palmer was never the answer there, which I think is problematic. So when we're doing an evaluation of who Cole Palmer is, how good he is, Chelsea have an evaluation, and Chelsea have decided that Chelsea must have decided that he's brilliant because we spent an awful lot of money on a player who's incredibly young with no real proven track record in the Premier League. And Manchester City obviously have a very different measure. They're operating on a very different scale. They've decided that he's surplus to requirements. They've decided that not only can they let him leave, but they can let him leave to a Premier League team, and not only to a Premier League team, but to a rival. Manchester City wouldn't want to strengthen Chelsea if they deem that Cole Palmer would strengthen us. So I think it's a very weird one. And the other thing, again, Chelsea fans don't like this. This is why Chelsea fans sometimes get on my back, because I flag things that they don't want to hear, but it's true. Cole Palmer wasn't Chelsea's first choice, far from it. Chelsea explored many other options before signing Cole Palmer. We were turned down by Olise. We did our best to make sure that Olise became a Chelsea player, and it is very disingenuous of you, if you are a Chelsea fan, to now try and present Cole Palmer as being a player that we're so desperate for. Because, let's be totally honest, we failed in our prolonged effort to prize Michael Olise away from Palace. We desperately tried to get hold of Olise, and sadly, because I think he's a very good player and far more proven, it didn't work out. Then there's been a bit of a rewriting of history. Look, I've just been in Barcelona. I can tell you this for a fact. I can't tell you how I can tell you, but I can tell you for a fact. Chelsea were desperate to sign Emile Smith Rowe. Again, there's a rewriting of history. People are suggesting that it was only being explored, or it wasn't being explored at all. Chelsea were never genuinely serious about signing Emile Smith Rowe. Chelsea were breaking our necks. We were so keen to sign Emile Smith Rowe from Arsenal. The reason that didn't come off is because Arsenal would not sell him to us. That is why. Arsenal, in fairness to them, have demonstrated a principle. If they deem Emile Smith Rowe surplus to requirements, which I don't think they do, I think Smith Rowe is a very good player. But if they deem him surplus to requirements, they won't strengthen a rival. And you certainly don't strengthen a London rival. You certainly don't strengthen Chelsea. That's the principle. You don't do that. So the reason I'm amplifying that is because Man City are prepared to give Cole Palmer to Chelsea. So they're either not seeing Cole Palmer as a threat or Chelsea as a threat or neither as a threat. None of those situations are good. The fact that Chelsea had him at the very best third on our list is problematic. I imagine that part of the reason that we've signed him is because of the injury to Christopher Nkunku. You know, Pochettino requested another attacker, didn't he? You know, when he was talking, he was like, with the right profile. Desperately wants a player with the right profile. And by that, I think we can deduce that he means, you know, fully prepared with a proven track record and adapted to the Premier League. On some level, that's true about Palmer. You know, it's far more true about Olise and Smith Rowe, but it's slightly true about Palmer. The fact that he has the ability to play in a various number of positions, you know, flexibility is very important for Pochettino. So I think that's good. And look, I believe that he could come good. I just am slightly surprised. And the euphoria amongst Chelsea fans has surprised me. Because they just can't know. They just can't know. Like, in all competitions for City, he's played 1,300 minutes of football. You just can't judge a player on 1,300 minutes of football. Look, this could come good. I desperately hope it does. I really do pray that this is our payback for them having all these years of service off Kevin De Bruyne. You know, Kevin De Bruyne is the one that got away for us. I desperately hope that Cole Palmer, in a decade's time, City fans are looking back at it, going, the boy from Wythenshawe has somehow won 2 European Cups at Chelsea. How did we let him go? What a mistake. As they're watching him lift Premier League and European titles. But it enough sounds optimistic, don't you think? You know, realistically, does he improve our team? Does he get in our team? And 1,300 minutes of football is so small. Just to compare it, when Phil Foden was the same age, he had played over 6 times more minutes. Over 6 times more time spent on a pitch at the same age. Phil Foden versus Cole Palmer. So, you know, it is a problem. And let's face it as well, I don't like the money chat. I find it painful. But £45 million is an awful lot of money for someone who's made 3 Premier League starts. And I'm not even sure he starts for us. Like, we have a glut of attacking options. Think of all of the players that Chelsea can select in those positions. You know, forwards but not forwards. Attackers but in a loose sense of the word. How many of those players do Chelsea have? So Palmer is what? Palmer's best position is a right winger. Manchester City need a right winger. He needed to leave Manchester City in order to get game time. And yet, I'm not convinced that he gets into Chelsea's team easier than he gets into Man City's in that particular position. I'm not suggesting for a second that Chelsea have a better team. I'm talking specifically on the right wing. So to get in the Chelsea team, on the right, somehow you have to get Raheem Sterling out of the team, which, let's face it, just simply isn't going to happen. Christopher Nkunku will be back. Just think of the players that play in that position, right? You've got Sterling, Mudryk, Nkunku, all most certainly ahead of him. I mean, Pochettino really liked Maatsen, didn't he, on pre-season? Played very well. You know, Burnley Team of the Year in the Championship and all that. And then there's all of the other players. You know the players that we've kind of signed that are young, I say under 21, and out on loan, and all behind Raheem Sterling. You're looking at Noni Madueke, Angelo Gabriel, Diego Moreira, all at the club, out on loan. So Palmer needs regular minutes, but so do so many other players. If you think about what happened the other night, Raheem Sterling, you know, rightly didn't play against Wimbledon. Madueke plays really well, wins a penalty, scores a penalty. So how's Palmer going to displace him? And if he is going to displace him, what does it mean to Madueke? I saw an interview with with Madueke, where he was incredibly calm. Didn't seem too fussed about signing Cole Palmer. Didn't see it as a threat. And I think they get on. I think they're mates from being out in Georgia with England. I just find it all a bit baffling. And look, maybe I'm wrong, but I just think Chelsea are all over the place. I really do. 13 players have arrived at Stamford Bridge this transfer window. 13. So, I really don't know how this is going to go. I like Cole Palmer. I want it to work. But I actually need your guidance because I genuinely do not know if this is a good signing or not. So please do me a favour. If you think it is, give the video a like. And please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're new around here, do me a favour and click subscribe. And I'll see you all in a bit. Ta-da.